Cybersecurity in Afghanistan. Cybersecurity in Afghanistan is still developing, but its importance is growing every day. As the country continues to connect more people, more devices, and more services to the internet, the need for stronger digital protection becomes impossible to ignore. Afghanistan's digital journey has not been simple. For many years, conflict, instability, and limited resources slowed the growth of technology and digital systems. That meant internet access, digital infrastructure, and cybersecurity development all moved more slowly than in many other countries. But things are changing. More people are going online. More businesses are using digital tools. More communities are depending on phones, apps, and internet access to communicate, learn, trade, and stay informed. If you look at a city like Kabul, you can see signs of this digital change happening. There is more connectivity, more mobile use, and more awareness that digital systems are becoming part of daily life. People are scrolling, messaging, searching, learning, and working online more than before, and that is important because the more a country becomes digital, the more cybersecurity matters. Cybersecurity is not just about hackers sitting in dark rooms. It is about protecting people, data, systems, and trust. It is about making sure that when someone sends a message, logs into an app, makes a payment, or stores information online, that information is safe. In Afghanistan, this is still a developing area, which means there is a lot of room for growth, but also a lot of room for risk. A big part of the story is digital infrastructure. Digital infrastructure means the systems that support internet access, mobile networks, data centers, software services, and online communication. Without infrastructure, there is no strong digital economy. Without infrastructure, there is no secure online government service. Without infrastructure, there is no reliable way for people to connect, learn, or build businesses online. Afghanistan's digital infrastructure is improving, but it is still limited in many places. Internet access is growing, especially in urban areas, but it is not equally available everywhere. Some people have stronger connections and more access to devices, while others still face slow service, weak connectivity, or no access at all. That gap matters, because when a country grows digitally without equal access, security gaps often grow too. Many people in Afghanistan are accessing the internet mostly through mobile phones. That means smartphones are the main gateway to the digital world for a lot of users. Through a phone, people can join social media, send messages, look for information, and even try to do business. This makes mobile security very important. If a phone is not secure, everything connected to it can be at risk. Contacts, messages, photos, accounts, passwords, and personal information can all become exposed, and here is where the problem becomes serious. As internet use grows, cybersecurity awareness does not always grow at the same pace. A lot of users are still new to digital safety. Many people do not fully understand phishing, fake links, weak passwords, suspicious apps, or account protection. That makes them easier targets for cybercriminals. Phishing is one of the most common threats. It happens when someone receives a message, email, or link that looks real but is actually fake. The goal is to trick the person into giving away a password, a code, a phone number, or some other private information. In a place where awareness is still growing, phishing can be very effective. Malware is another threat. That is harmful software that can damage systems, steal data, or spy on activity. Ransomware is even more dangerous. It can lock a user or organization out of their own files until money is paid. Social engineering is also a major concern. That is when attackers do not break technology directly, they break trust. They convince people to reveal information or click something dangerous. This is why digital growth without strong security can become risky very quickly. More users online means more possible targets. More phones connected means more entry points. More digital activity means more opportunities for attacks. Another challenge is outdated systems. Some systems, tools, and services are not always updated quickly. Old software can contain weaknesses that attackers can exploit. If updates are delayed, security gaps remain open. If systems are not maintained properly, the risk of breach grows. This is not just a technical problem, it becomes a real-life problem when sensitive information is stolen or services are disrupted. There is also the issue of skilled professionals. Cybersecurity needs trained people. It needs analysts, defenders, engineers, ethical hackers, policy experts, and people who understand how to detect threats before they become serious problems. In Afghanistan, there is still a shortage of cybersecurity professionals compared to the size of the need. That means protection is harder, response is slower, and many systems remain vulnerable for too long. Data protection is another major concern. When data is stored online, there must be clear protection, clear policy, and clear responsibility. If data is exposed, leaked, stolen, or misused, the impact can be serious. People can lose. As Afghanistan continues to develop its digital space, one important question remains: how does the country move from basic digital growth to a secure and sustainable cybersecurity environment? The answer lies in structure, strategy, and consistency. Cybersecurity cannot grow randomly, it must be built intentionally. This means creating systems that are designed not only to function but to resist threats and recover from attacks. One of the key areas that must be strengthened is digital resilience. Digital resilience is the ability of systems to continue operating even when something goes wrong. It is not about preventing every attack, because that is not always possible. It is about being prepared. Prepared to detect threats early, prepared to respond quickly, and prepared to recover without major damage. In Afghanistan, building digital resilience means improving how systems are monitored and managed. Organizations need better visibility into their networks. They need to know what is happening, who is accessing systems, and where potential risks exist. Without visibility, security becomes guesswork, and guesswork is dangerous in cybersecurity. Another important concept is incident response. When an attack happens, the speed and quality of response determine the level of damage. If response is slow or unorganized, the impact becomes worse. Data can be lost, systems can fail, and trust can disappear. But if response is fast and structured, damage can be contained. That is why organizations need clear plans that define what to do during an attack, who is responsible, and how recovery will happen. These plans are often called incident response frameworks. In countries where cybersecurity is still developing, these frameworks are often missing or incomplete. Building them should be a priority. Another critical area is data management. Data is one of the most valuable digital assets. It includes personal information, business records, government data, and communication details. If data is not properly managed and protected, it becomes an easy target. This is why encryption is important. Encryption protects data by making it unreadable without the correct key. Even if attackers gain access, they cannot easily use the information. In Afghanistan, increasing the use of encryption can significantly improve data security. It is a simple but powerful step towards stronger protection. There is also the issue of access control. Not everyone should have access to everything. Systems must be designed so that users only access what they need. This reduces the risk of internal misuse and limits damage if an account is compromised. This concept is often referred to as least privilege access. It is a basic but effective security principle. Another emerging approach is the concept of zero trust. Zero trust means never trust, always verify. Instead of assuming that users inside a network are safe, every access request is checked and verified. This approach is becoming more important as systems become more connected and complex. For Afghanistan, adopting modern security models like this can help build stronger protection over time. Cloud technology is also playing a role in shaping cybersecurity. Cloud systems allow data and services to be hosted online rather than locally. This can provide better scalability, more flexibility, and in many cases, stronger built-in security features. However, cloud systems must be configured correctly. If not, they can introduce new risks. This means training and knowledge are essential when adopting new technologies. Cybersecurity is not just about tools, it is about how those tools are used. Another important factor is awareness at the organizational level. Companies and institutions must understand that cybersecurity is not optional. It is not something to consider only after an attack happens. It must be part of daily operations. From how employees use devices to how systems are maintained, security must be integrated into every process. This requires leadership. Leaders must prioritize cybersecurity and allocate resources to it. Without leadership support, security efforts often fail. There is also the human factor. Even with the best technology, human error can still create vulnerabilities. Clicking a wrong link, sharing sensitive information, or ignoring security warnings can lead to serious problems. This is why continuous training is important, not just once, but regularly. People need to stay updated because threats are always evolving. Cybersecurity is not static. Attackers are constantly changing their methods. They study systems, analyze behaviors, and look for new ways to exploit weaknesses. This means defense must also evolve. Continuous improvement is essential. Organizations must test their systems, identify weaknesses, and fix them before attackers do. This process is often called vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. It helps find gaps before they become real problems. For Afghanistan, building this kind of proactive approach will be key to long-term security. Another important aspect is collaboration. Cybersecurity is not a one-person job. It requires teamwork. Within organizations, different departments must work together. Between organizations, information sharing can help prevent attacks. At the national level, cooperation between government, private sector, and international partners can strengthen overall security. No country can handle cybersecurity alone. The threats are global, so the solutions must also involve global cooperation. Looking forward, the role of artificial intelligence will continue to grow. AI can help detect unusual patterns, predict potential threats, and automate responses. This can make security systems faster and more efficient, but AI also introduces new challenges. Attackers can use AI as well. They can create more advanced attacks, more convincing phishing messages, and more complex strategies. This creates a situation where both sides are becoming more advanced, and this makes cybersecurity even more important. The future of cybersecurity in Afghanistan will depend on how well these elements are combined. Infrastructure, education, policy, technology, and awareness must all work together. If one area is weak, it affects the entire system. But if they are strong and connected, they create a powerful defense. The goal is not perfection. No system is completely secure. The goal is readiness. Being ready to face challenges, adapt to change, and protect what matters. And what matters most is people. Cybersecurity is about protecting individuals, their data, their identity, and their ability to use technology safely. It is about enabling progress without creating unnecessary risk. Afghanistan is on a journey toward a more connected future. Businesses can lose money, government services can be disrupted, and once trust is lost, rebuilding it is never easy. The reality is that Afghanistan faces several connected cybersecurity challenges at once: low awareness, limited infrastructure, weak protection, outdated systems, shortage of experts, and rising digital dependence. All of these issues connect to each other. That is why the country's cybersecurity future depends on solving more than one problem at a time. But it is not all bad news. In fact, one of the most important things about Afghanistan's digital future is that there is real potential there. Potential matters. Because a country does not need to be fully advanced before it starts growing. What matters is direction, and Afghanistan has a path forward if the right steps are taken. One of the biggest opportunities is the young population. Young people can learn quickly. They can adapt to new tools. They can build new skills. They can enter fields like cybersecurity, cloud support, digital services, software, and remote work. That gives Afghanistan something powerful, a future workforce that can be trained for the digital age. Cybersecurity can create jobs. It can create opportunities in network defense, threat analysis, digital forensics, cloud security, system administration, incident response, and ethical hacking. It can also create freelance opportunities. That is important because remote work allows people to contribute to the global digital economy, even from home. If someone has the right skills, they do not always need to wait for a local opportunity. They can build a career with international clients, online platforms, and remote teams. Education is one of the strongest ways forward. If more people in Afghanistan learn the basics of cybersecurity, the country becomes stronger from the ground up. That means teaching people how to recognize phishing messages, create strong passwords, protect their phones, check app permissions, use two-factor authentication, and browse safely. Small lessons can create big results. Two-factor authentication, for example, is one of the simplest and most effective ways to protect accounts. It adds another layer of security so that even if a password is stolen, the account is harder to access. In a country where many people are still learning digital safety, simple protection steps like that can make a major difference. There is also a future in innovation. As Afghanistan continues to digitize, there is room for local solutions, startups, and services that fit the country's specific needs. Cybersecurity is not just about defense. It is also about creating systems people can trust. That trust helps businesses grow, it helps governments serve better, it helps citizens feel safer online, and this is where the broader future comes in. If Afghanistan invests in digital infrastructure, cybersecurity training, and awareness, it can grow into a safer and more connected country. That means stronger services, better communication, more economic opportunity, and more room for young people to build careers in technology. The future also depends on policy and leadership. Awareness alone is not enough. There must be systems, there must be standards, there must be enforcement, there must be investment in tools, education, and protection. Strong cybersecurity does not happen by accident. It happens when countries decide that digital safety matters. In the future, Afghanistan can move toward better online resilience. That means being able to detect threats faster, respond better, and recover more effectively when something goes wrong. It means protecting public systems, private data, and personal devices more seriously. It means building a culture where people understand that digital safety is not optional. It is part of everyday life. So when we talk about cybersecurity in Afghanistan, we are not just talking about technology. We are talking about people. We are talking about growth. We are talking about education. We are talking about trust. And we are talking about the future. Afghanistan's digital journey is still unfolding. There are challenges, there are risks, there are gaps that still need to be closed. But there is also potential, real potential. And with the right awareness, the right skills, and the right investment, that potential can become progress. Cybersecurity in Afghanistan is not just about stopping hackers. It is about protecting lives, supporting innovation, and making sure the country is ready for the digital future. Because every time a country becomes more connected, cybersecurity becomes more important, and the message is simple: learn the risks, build the skills, protect the systems, and stay ahead. Cybersecurity is not just technology, it is the future of Afghanistan.